Future trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Tech Talk. I am Cody. With me, per usual, Mr. Andy Fallman. Andy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
I'm just looking around for the bazooka. I found it. It's on the floor. We'll see
like
if it gets used today.
I was going to say, it seems like we're going to have to use it pretty prevalently today.
Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows? But for reference, it is April 5th, about 4:30 Eastern Time.
Sorry about those Spartans, by the way.
Yeah. All right. Let's just get this out of the way. Since you brought it up, I am wearing my Kansas State Wildcats shirt as they did beat the Michigan State Spartans 2 weeks ago in the NCAA tournament. So I would like to give a shout out and an apology to Jake Kingsley, his 3 PhDs that he has hanging behind on the feed gab every week. They did beat the Spartans in one of the best basketball games that I think I've ever seen. So, as promised, I'm wearing my Kansas State paraphernalia this week.
I guess I don't understand why you owe him an apology, though.
Well, because I mean, the texts that were going back and forth were pretty brutal. So, I do sincerely need to apologize for things that were said.
But you still have a Spartans banner behind you.
I do still have the Spartans banner behind me that he said I got from the dollar store, which is not true, but it's still hanging here.
You get it on Amazon or something?
I actually got it from the Michigan State apparel store when I went there.
Get out of here. All right.
I'm not lying.
Well.
So, Jake, Kansas State, congratulations. Good game.
This is really painful for you, isn't it?
It is very painful. Now that that's out of the way, let's get back to some real charts.
Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about something else here. No, this is CME Cheese. This is the average. This is the block and barrel divided by 2. Got up to $2 or just over it and could not hold. Take that right back down. Where are we going from here?
Good night. It looks like $1.70 is kind of calling our name here.
That's what I was thinking. I mean, it looks like it just wants to head straight there. I guess the question is, does it break through there? It's tough to say. I mean, anytime we've gotten down here, futures started to build in a bit of a premium, and it's. I think until we cross that bridge, it's going to be tough to say that. Yep, it's absolutely going to happen. Yeah. I just think we got to be super mindful of. I think futures being like, how are they going to act? Right? Do they start getting ahead of it? Do they start building a big premium? We were hearing out of the recent conference that's going on in Wisconsin, CheeseCon, that it seems like things are relatively bearish out there. We'll see. But yeah, no, this, the chart looks like it wants to go, test that $1.70 mark. It's not that far away. I think the question is, does it happen? What do you think? Do they just take the barrels down from here? Do the blocks hold steady? Blocks have been hanging in here pretty well all year, obviously relative to the barrel. Let's take a quick look at that. Oh, what do you think? It's just all sideways, isn't it?
It is. I think to get down there, you got to take the barrel. I think that's going to be the big moving factor of this whole ideal, honestly.
Okay.
And like you have it up there, I mean, the $1.70, you break below that, you're talking numbers we haven't seen since end of 2021, right? November,
yep.
December.
It looks that way. I mean, so you go back to, that's that week right there. That's the middle of November 2021. I mean, there was this guy, the little guy right there, but he took off. And really, I mean, you're talking about it getting back to prices we haven't seen since the end of 2021 if you're talking below 170 for block. Barrel, I mean, we know that took, a bit of a beating here and traded a ton of volume. That said, I mean, look at this little guy for you.
Oof.
What do you call that?
Well, was that a gap at $1.60?
It sure does look like it.
Oh, boy.
Little gapper there. There's the barrel. That would do it, right? I mean, if you kept the block at around $1.80-ish and took the barrel down to low 160s, you're now going to take, that brings this average down into here.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Either way, it looks like there's room for this thing to kind of break and start to, and I would imagine start to run into some consolidation, especially given the time of the year. Mm-hmm. Also, ADPI is right around the corner too. So just we can go test 170 just in time for ADPI.
Just in time.
It's funny how it works out that way, huh?
Yes, it is.
It does always seem to happen. Well, leading into that, you want to look at May Class 3, right? What are we on? Like the third week of price in April, so it's a little tougher to look at. But there's May.
There's May.
All right, what do you want to do? May Class 3.
May Class 3. May Class 3 sure as heck looks like a sell. It doesn't look pretty. There's not a whole lot of bullishness on this chart, right?
Well, I think it's going to track really closely with cheese, right? like it doesn't feel like it's going to get ahead of it. And if cheese is going to go below 170, I think the spot market's going to have to prove that before the futures go and do that ahead of time, right? Unless there's some catastrophic thing that happens or something, I don't know. But I mean, this looks very similar to how the cheese chart looks, right? Where we had all this support here in the mid 1775. And again, that's not that far away either. I mean, this chart looks like it just wants to steadily grind itself down there and just kind of trade sideways. It doesn't really seem like there's a big trade here one way or the other.
No.
So
it
not
really
super exciting.
No. Well, and I mean, like you said, May hasn't started pricing. We got a few weeks until that does start happening. But what happens if you get down to that 1770 type number and we start blowing through that to the downside? Then it's like, all right, now we're into some new territory on this chart for sure.
Well, and I think you'd want to be, when we start let's say we started doing that, you want to be watching bases loaded with Joe, because May will, again, to your point, will be pricing, and we'll want to, kind of be mindful of what sort of premiums get reported. We've seen some pretty hefty premiums get reported. I think March went off at 1810 for Class 3. Last year price before the last day settlement was 1805. It's not a huge move, but still, like, it's getting some decent premiums. Way's kind of hanging in there. So I don't know, something to be mindful. Like I said, this looks like you can just kind of grind down to that price and then maybe just kind of consolidate for a little bit, see what happens. So don't really have a big opinion one way or the other, but one we have looked at before and we should revisit. And I believe we said we were going to revisit.
Here we are.
Nov Feeders. November Feeders. What do you want to do? So I didn't touch these lines, didn't touch them.
I mean, since last time we talked about this, well, look at the wave that you have drawn on there. It started to track with it a little bit, just not as sharply, but
yeah. I think you and I were like literally opposite here, where I still think this like whole wave is gonna play out, right? We're in wave 3. Mm-hmm. We're gonna see kind of a retracement probably around this size right here, and then have like an exhaustion move before wanting to get short, right?
Well, it seems like you're probably seeing the rollover in the of the wave right now, don't you think?
Maybe. I mean, I think what would be a really big indicator here is I have them up. This is the momentum.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe this is a 12 period momentum. So it's taking a look back at the last 12 sessions. And we haven't crossed zero yet, meaning going from positive to zero to negative. So you're now trending lower from looking at the previous 12 sessions.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that you're failing to kind of come back up to this high right here. Right. So even though the price is higher, the momentum has started to slow.
Correct.
So it's kind of like a warning sign there for this move. I mean, like I said, I still feel like we've got some more strength and this can play out a little bit, but I think you want to be super, super mindful. And if this crosses zero and starts to turn negative, that's a big warning sign that this trend is over and this contract could roll over a little bit. So I think you want to wait for that before selling it. That can happen quickly too. I mean, like I said, you really don't need. Again, it's a reference from the last 12 sessions, right? So that failing to put in like a new high right here, even though the price is higher, this should be moving higher too. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit of a warning sign for Nov Feeders here. Yeah. Last but certainly not least, this has just become like your favorite. Like, I feel like you should just start growing corn.
One of the favorites of the show.
You love corn. Like, do you eat corn at home?
After looking at all these charts, you bet your boots I do.
How do you eat it? Like, you boil it or something? What?
On the cob.
Do you boil it? Do you grill it?
Usually grilled. It's the only way to go.
Really? Okay. You have to send me a corn recipe because you look at a lot of corn. You must be eating a lot of corn.
It's very interesting. I mean, look at the volatility we've seen in this chart alone the past couple of days, even going back to last Friday.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying you got like you're corn on the brain, corn on the cob over here.
On the brain.
Well, okay. So, what do you like? Where's this baby going here? What's going on with this thing?
Personally, after looking at this chart, I think corn's going to take probably another leg lower to about that 550, and we're not too far away from it. I understand.
Okay.
But look at those. Look at that wick that we saw from last Friday when we had the USDA report, and the market could
331.
Yep, the market could not figure out which way it wanted to trade and which way it wanted to go. I mean, we pretty much settled. I think we settled a little bit higher there. But we've tried to break out, and I've got the same simple moving averages that you do. Yep. So you get up to like the 50-day moving average, and the chart just says no thank you and starts heading lower.
No thank you.
Right. I mean, right now we're sitting on the 20-day moving average, but not looking promising to the upside right now.
Technically, we closed below that 20-day, not by much, but
by a slight.
Like technically you did. Let's really blow this bad boy up. Yep, you did. So if you're looking at like the way those moving averages have closed, the momentum is certainly suggesting that there's, if you roll back down, right, that's weak too. That's a sign of weakness. I mean, I agree. I mean, it looks like you said, it's not much. It doesn't seem like there's a huge trade here, but a test of 550, I think, is in the works. I think like what we want to be really mindful of is whether or not, does this hold again? And if it doesn't, like where do we go from there, right? Because if you look at that price, it's already kind of, look at all this noise. You're going back to like late August or late July of last year.
Right.
All that noise that it was able to just kind of work itself through and then had a pretty substantial rally, right? So testing that, breaking through that. So you'd want to see it close probably at if this thing closed at 440 or lower, that's like uncharted. now you're talking about, this is back when the contracts was inception, right? So it's not as relevant. Mm-hmm. But still, you don't see much until this $5, $5.10 area. So I don't know, could accelerate so you want to be a little short here is what you're saying, but be super mindful of if you get down to 550 and can't hold it, then boop, you're out.
Yeah, I think you want to be super mindful of that 550 type area, and if you really start, going lower at an accelerated rate, like you had mentioned, then it's, all right, not time to get long just quite yet. You want to see where this thing works itself out, but like you have drawn there, the long-term support that we have going back into last year is pretty wild, actually. And last time we were down towards 550, we just kind of traded sideways there for a little bit and then popped ourselves back up to what about 575? And then we've kind of started falling off that, number right now. But yeah, you're going to want to be watching 550 with a pin.
Can't disagree with you, man. Maybe you'll get to buy some of that corn cheaper to put on the cob, or not cob, put on the grill. What am I talking about? It's already on the cob.
That's what we're hoping. That's what we're looking for.
It just seems like markets are kind of in a little bit of limbo. We got this sideways dairy trade going on. There's potential for feeders to roll over here if that momentum starts to shift that we talked about. Mm-hmm. East corn, I don't know what it's. I feel like it's like when you say sell, the hammer almost wants to explode. You know what I mean? It's just it starts we can't right click. How do you do that?
Right. Exactly.
What is this right clicking stuff you're talking about? I don't do that.
It's one of those things. If you got long from here, you could say, okay, you're going to be wrong up to 550, but you don't, right? You don't. December's a long ways away. The contract has a lot of trade left in it. I don't think I'd want to be long East corn at this price point just yet.
That was really hard for you to say too, wasn't it? It was just
had to choke on those words pretty hard.
It was a struggle.
Yes.
We'll see. Things will pick up. You'll be buying stuff in no time. You'll be swatting stuff with the hammer. Meantime, I found it, but it's not loaded. But actually, hang on. Oh. I'm not ready to blast this chart just yet, but it's loaded. It's ready to go. So East corn could get bazookaed here. If this thing gets a close below, what did we talk about? 545, 540 or something like that. You close below all that garbage from, way back when. It could get, I don't know. The Arnold Commando could come out. That movie was great, by the way. It was a great clip. He could come out and blast this thing. So we're going to hold off just yet. It's loaded. We'll
see what next week brings us on this.
We'll see what next week brings, but it's loaded. Just be ready. This thing can get blasted here.
Roll it over to the next week in April.
So you're going to watch Spartan highlight reel tonight or something like that? Burn that. You got the fire pit outside. You can burn that shirt.
Why do you got to do it? Why do you got to do me like that? It was a great game. I might just burn the shirt later, but we'll leave it.
Burn the shirt. Watch the Spartan highlight reel.
Cry a little bit.
Yeah, probably cry.
Well, on that sad note.
sad note. Hey, you got the tennis. You know what though? Tennis is right around the corner. Don't worry.
It is. 'Tis the season.
Season's 11 months, but we're rocking. We're already rocking and rolling. The summer season is coming in hot. You got French Open. You got Wimbledon coming up. U.S. Open Series. You can probably watch some NCAA tennis. We can probably watch Michigan State go play. You want to go watch that too?
Oh, good. And not very many people. I don't know if many people know this, but you were actually a D1 tennis player back in the day.
Pretty big tennis fan, it was a sad day when Roger Federer retired. It was just like, I shed a little tear over here, but I thought he would play forever.
So, I mean, your tennis. If anybody wants to call in, talk about tennis, get a hold of Andy. I would not get a hold of myself. All right. On that fantastic note, everybody, we're going to end this fantastic episode of Tech Talk. Have a fantastic Easter. We will see you next week.
Oh, that's right. Happy Easter.
Yeah. Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy Easter.
See you guys.